at the distant frozen edge of our solar system, far beyond the waning reach of the sun's warmth, an ancient spacecraft continues its lonely journey. Launched in 1977, Voyager 2 still whispers faint signals back to Earth. For decades, this remarkable probe has explored places no human has ever been, transmitted data no instrument had previously collected, and sent back images that forever changed our understanding of the cosmos. But recently, Voyager 2 did something no one expected. It sent a fragmented, distorted signal, strange and unexplainable. Initially, scientists at NASA suspected a malfunction. Yes, engineers delved into the mysterious transmission. What they found began to challenge the very framework of our understanding. The anomaly didn't stem from a technical fault. The data hinted that Voyager 2 had strayed into a region it was never expected to reach, suggesting that the boundary of our solar system is not an end but a threshold, and whatever lies beyond it may be far older, far more complex, and perhaps even more intelligent than we imagined. As it continued its passage into interstellar space at over 34,000 miles per hour, Voyager 2's aging instruments had been reliably providing plasma readings, cosmic ray data, and magnetic field measurements until something shifted. A burst of transmissions revealed that the spacecraft's attitude, articulation, and control system, the mechanism responsible for keeping it oriented toward Earth, was now communicating through a computer that had not been active for decades. This routing led to corrupted, unreadable data, even though Voyager itself remained on course and its signal remained strong. It was as if the probe had deliberately chosen to communicate through an obsolete channel. This begged a troubling question. Had caused it to switch paths, and why? More disturbing than the routing itself was where the transmission led. The data, initially assumed to be random noise, turned out to follow structured sequences, patterns that resembled Voyager's original launch protocols, almost as if it had rebooted into a dormant memory. Hidden within the corrupted packets, engineers detected a repeating low-frequency harmonic, unexplained pulse occurring every 7.44 seconds. It faded in and out like a heartbeat, resistant to all attempts to override or reset it. NASA engineers began referring to this anomaly as the heartbeat. Some believed it was a software glitch. Others weren't so sure, because the signal didn't originate within Voyager. Deer came from outside. NASA issued a carefully worded public statement. Yes, there had been a telemetry issue. Yes, they had resolved. And yes, Voyager was back to functioning normally. But behind the scenes, something extraordinary had unfolded. Once the corrupted data was decoded using legacy communication software, hidden binary markers emerged. Markers that neither Earth nor Voyager's memory had generated. When visualized, they formed complex, repeating hexagonal patterns, structures found in nature, but entirely foreign in digital space. To some, they resembled machine-coded crop circles. Others compared them to fractals, self-replicating systems that shouldn't exist in telemetry. But unsettling of all were the timestamps embedded in the data. They didn't match Voyager's current timeline, suggesting they came from a different temporal layer, perhaps even a different dimension. One NASA insider reportedly remarked, "We didn't just receive a signal, we received a message." Theme of astrophysicists and communication theorists soon proposed a radical theory. What if Voyager 2 hadn't malfunctioned, but had instead received a response not from a planet or a star, but from an intelligent structure in space? This could be a kind of interstellar field, electromagnetic in nature, capable of receiving, modifying, and sending back our own signals in altered form. The binary wasn't noise. It was a mirrored message, a form of the fact that the message hijacked an ancient onboard computer only deepened the mystery. It was as though something or someone had initiated a dialogue with the probe. Internally, NASA began to refer to the incident as Event V2X. Restrictions on communication tightened. Scientists involved in decoding the anomaly were reassigned. Independent researchers assisting in the waveform analysis were asked to halt public discussion. Voyager's data, which had always been released openly, suddenly became classified. This shift suggested one thing above all. Something had been discovered that they didn't want the public to see. Meanwhile, rogue researchers began comparing Voyager 2's binary anomalies to unexplained deep space signals. From the famous WOW signal of 1977 to more recent fast radio bursts, the patterns were eerily similar, not in language or sound, but in mathematics. Pulse ratios, geometric patterns, and timing intervals mapped to prime number lattices and non-terrestrial timelines. It appeared that Voyager 2's signal had been intercepted, altered, and returned by something far more sophisticated than anything we could design, and more chillingly, whatever sent it back understood how to manipulate Voyager's hardware, activating systems thought long dead, routing commands, and commandeering its communication array in previously unimaginable ways. Wasn't interference. It was control. New theory began to circulate. Perhaps Voyager 2 hadn't just crossed the heliper, the boundary between the solar, wind, and interstellar space, but entered a much older, deliberately quiet region of space, a buffer zone, a border between civilizations or even realities. Researchers began calling it the zone of echo, a term borrowed from fiction, yet hauntingly accurate. Signals from Voyager would go out and return, only delayed, but refined, cleansed, and sharpened as if shaped by an intelligence trying to clarify the message. This wasn't mere reception. It was understanding. The probe had perhaps unknowingly knocked on a door, and now that door may be opening. Within the scientific community, a rift has formed. Some argue the event was natural, caused by chaotic magnetic fields, charged particles, or anomalies in deep space. Others believe we are witnessing the first real contact, not through a ship, not a voice from the stars, but through an accidental alignment, a probe encountering a field, and the field replying like casting a pebble into still water and watching the ripples arrange themselves into deliberate patterns. The real dilemma now isn't whether the anomaly happened. It's what comes next. Do we respond? Do we send another probe? Or do we remain silent, uncertain of who or what might be listening? For nearly 50 years, Voyager 2 has floated outward, a silent envoy from a young species filled with our hopes, our science, and our desire to connect. It was never meant to return, yet it has, bringing not just data, but a whisper, a hint of something watching. Once we believed the edge of the solar system was where space began to forget. Now we see it may be the threshold to something designed, something aware. Voyager may second not have simply drifted into the unknown. It may have announced. And now that we've been heard, we must face the question that no scientist, no philosopher, and no government can answer alone. Do we dare respond? What do you think Voyager 2 encountered? Was it just coincidence, or have we stumbled into a conversation never meant for human ears?